second day of talks on Syria is about to begin between the U.S. and Russia. The U.S. Secretary of State and Russian Foreign Minister are in Geneva working out the details on Moscow's plan to secure Syria's chemical weapons. Meantime, Syria's president has put a new condition on the process. He's demanding the U.S. stop its threats of military action.
After 2.5 years of brutal civil war, a concession from the Syrian president. He says he will hand over his chemical weapons, but there are strings attached.
When we see that the US really wants stability in our region and will stop threatening and aiming to attack and stop supplying weapons to terrorists, then we will consider the process can be brought to the final stage and it will become real and acceptable to Syria.
The details of how the weapons will be decommissioned are being chewed over by delegations from Russia and the US, based on proposals from Moscow. America's chief diplomat was careful to attribute ownership and warn against stalling tactics.
If John Kerry and Sergei Lavrov can resolve huge differences over the way to handle President Assad, should threats or persuasion be the method, then perhaps dismantling his chemical weapon stocks is possible.
We proceed from the assumption that the resolution of this problem makes any strike against Syria unnecessary. And I'm sure our American partners too, as President Obama said, are firmly in favour of a peaceful settlement of the problem of Syria's chemical weapons.
It has to be real. It has to be comprehensive. It has to be verifiable. It has to be credible. It has to be timely and implemented in a timely fashion. And finally, there ought to be consequences if it doesn't take place.
And on the sidelines of diplomacy, there was this, an article in the New York Times written by Russian President Vladimir Putin that many Americans will have found deeply provocative. A strike would increase violence and unleash a new wave of terrorism, he wrote. It could throw the entire system of international law and order out of balance. Millions around the world would increasingly see America not as a model of democracy, but as relying solely on brute force. The Russian president also continues to maintain that the August chemical attack in the suburbs of Damascus was in fact carried out by the opposition, a view strenuously rejected by the French foreign minister.
The reality is quite clear. A chemical massacre took place. Bashar al-Assad's government was in possession of the weapons and gave the order. It is quite clear.